So, in the last video, I got a lot of comments saying that BO1 should be remastered. If you didn't watch the last video, go watch that. But basically, I was talking about like what I thought would get remastered for the next like Call of Duty that's not going to be released. Which, thank you to whoever clarified in the comments. It's going to be in 2023, November 2023. That game is not getting released. So we'll have one more game before they actually take a like leap year. And by the way, to anybody that watched the last video, thank you so much for all the support. You guys killed that video. I don't know what it is with these old Call of Duties, but you guys just really like them. So I'm going to keep doing them. But anyway, in the last video, a couple of people were saying that BO1 was the greatest Call of Duty ever made, and that it should be remastered way before BO2. And I agree. I 100% agree. And here's the thing. I don't want to just straight up say that BO1 was better than BO2. I think they were pretty on par with each other. I can't make a decision between BO1, BO2, and MW2. All three of those games were god tier. I already know somebody's gonna get pissed too because I'm not saying MW3 was god tier. I didn't think that game was as good as MW2, BO1, or BO2, so I'm not going to put it in God tier. Which, I should probably just do a whole tier list of, like, every game I think. I could easily see how people like BO1 more than BO2. From a game development standpoint, I 110% agree that BO1 is probably 100 times better than BO2 was. The reason why I say that is the campaign in this game, absolutely god tier. It was the best Call of Duty. In my opinion, the campaign in this game was the best Call of Duty campaign. I don't think any of the other ones came nearly as close. There was a couple of really good, like, honorable mentions from Call of Duty. Like, they had a lot of really good campaigns. Call of Duty Ghosts had an amazing campaign. MW2 had that plot twist, which really made it a good campaign. Aside from that, I don't think it was, like, nearly on the level that Ghost or BO1 was. BO2 had a good campaign. World at War had a good campaign. I've never actually finished the MW3 campaign, but from what I played on it was actually a really, really good campaign. But in my personal preference, I think BO1 was just on another level with their campaigns. It was dark, it was gory, it felt realistic. I don't know if it really is realistic at this point anymore, but like when it came out, I remember playing the game and getting like disturbed by a lot of the stuff. There was so much gore. It was very graphic. It was a very graphic game. And I think the campaign just really captured my attention way more than any other campaign did. I was super invested in the game. Obviously, the zombies in this game was probably the best. I'm not even gonna like really consider any of the other games on the level of BO1. I know a lot of people are gonna say, but BO3, but BO2, and it's like, yeah, but they all had good maps. I'm not gonna lie. Every Black Ops all the way up until BO4. BO4 is when they went completely downhill. Every, like, World at War had good maps, and it was really, World at War was a really scary game at the time. That entire game was just eerie. World at War had really good zombies maps. BO2 had really good zombies maps. BO3, they had Chronicles, which I think is like really the redeeming factor for that game, because I personally did not like the other maps on that game. At least out of the ones I played, because I stopped playing. Oh god. I strongly believe that BO3 would not be considered the best Call of Duty game if it wasn't for Chronicles. Chronicles was 110% the redeeming factor of that game. Even though I haven't played through every single DLC map on that game, because I gave up on that game really early on, I can at least say that I don't think any of the maps on that game came anywhere close to the original World at War BO1, BO2 maps. If you take into consideration Chronicles along with custom zombies on PC, yeah, without a doubt, BO3 is the best zombies game. I mean, you can't really... If you only compare the maps that came out from Activision, I think BO1 had the best map selection. I remember playing BO1 on the Wii. I played World at War on the Wii as well, but I don't think they had zombies on the Wii on World at War. But I remember playing BO1 on the Wii and playing zombies, and Kino was just like the scariest thing ever to me. And then by the time I actually got an Xbox and started playing BO1 on the Xbox, I just remember this being like super fucking scary. Kino was amazing. 5 was probably one of my favorite maps. Moon is my favorite map. Ascension is really up there. Call of the Dead is up there. Shangri-La I could do without. Shangri-La was a good map, but like, it's only a good map because like there's worse maps now. And I guess you could also say the same thing about BO2. BO2 had Transit, which I think was a super underrated map. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I believe Transit was a super underrated map, by the way, but like, aside from that, Transit, Mob of the Dead, Origins, all of those maps are good. Die Rise, I think is better than what like some of the other maps, but I don't think you can put that in like a good category. And then Buried is going to be really controversial because I know some people absolutely love that map. I hated that map. That map was garbage in my opinion. I hated the witches. I hated the like flow of the map. I just didn't like the map at all. So in my honest opinion, BO1 had the best campaign. It had the best zombies. And when it came to multiplayer, which by the way, the reason why I'm not playing multiplayer is because there's apparently 3,000 people online, but I can't find anybody in any lobbies. So I'm playing zombies instead. But when it came to multiplayer, I think that's where this game kind of fell short. Like, it was a great multiplayer for its time. There's obviously just better Call of Duty multiplayers. BO2 had one of the best multiplayer experiences, along with MW2. And I kind of think that's where a lot of people start to support BO2 being remastered more than BO1 being remastered. Oh god, I'm dead. So I think BO2 really got all of its praise because of multiplayer and because of the memories that were made on that game. Keep in mind, BO1 and like World at War, MW2, those games were like, gaming wasn't popular on YouTube during that time. Oh my god, I went down. So anyway, like I was saying, you gotta remember back when MW2 and World at War and those like games were out, BO1. When those games were out, YouTube wasn't really a thing. Like, there weren't people posting commentaries and things like that very often. Like, there was a few guys. I think XJaws was one of the first guys, and then there was like a couple other ones that I can't remember off the top of my head. But like, YouTube didn't exist during that time. A lot of like content creation didn't start really coming out until like BO2. Actually, I don't think that's fair. I think MW3 is when it really started to like kick off on YouTube and like start bringing in a community. BO1 had a few like trolls on it and stuff. I think they had like MN Burns and a few other guys like that, but it didn't really kick off until MW3, and then it carried over into BO2, and BO2 is where it really took off, and there was a huge community back in that game. And so I think a lot of people have memories from that game just because of like not only the YouTube scene, but like just in general. Like, a lot of people had a lot more, at least in my experience, I had way more like fun experiences on BO2 than I did on any of the other games, at least with my friends. And so I think this is kind of where people start to get their like idea that BO2 is better than BO1. And so I think with people having way more fun in BO2, MW3, those types of games. And so I believe that because more people had more fun and there was just like more memories and like more content creation and things like that in BO2, I think a lot of people think the game was a lot better than it actually was. And to add on top of that, I'm not saying the game was bad. BO2 was definitely one of the best Call of Duty games. It was extremely well balanced, had a ton of content. It like absolutely revolutionized Call of Duty. BO2 was a complete change from what classic Call of Duty was at the time. They added so much stuff. DLCs were super detailed. There was DLC content, customizable options. There was all kinds of stuff in that game. Like I said, I'm not dissing either game. I'm just saying, I think BO1 from a game standpoint, like from an actual game development standpoint, was the better game. But now if we take away the fact that like I'm thinking about it from like a game standpoint and how it's developed and how it's held up over the past 12 years, because this game is now 12 years old and it still feels amazing. So if I look at it from a different standpoint that's not like game development, I honestly do think that BO2 was like the better game as far as having fun, having a good community, having like all this like just, I don't know, enjoyable stuff happening in the game. BO2 definitely deserves credit in that aspect. You know, there's a lot more to a game than just the actual game development, and I think BO2 will forever go down as the best Call of Duty, or arguably the best Call of Duty, because of the memories and the things that happened on that game rather than just like how well the game was made. No, I'm dead. I think both games are amazing games, and I think saying like one deserves a remaster more than the other is just not right. The reality is, I think both games should be remastered. And I think BO1 should be remastered way before BO2 gets remastered, just because this game was an absolutely amazing game, and I believe from a game standpoint, it was a better game. But the corporations are obviously going to go with whatever makes them the most money, and I think BO2 is going to end up being the one that makes them more money, just because it's the one more people are willing to buy. Oh! Go! Oh. Perfect. I didn't realize insta-kill actually worked on him. What the fuck? But I honestly think from like a mega corporation standpoint, I do think that they will choose to do BO2 over BO1. So many more people had bought that game. So many people had praising that game and saying it was the best COD. BO1 isn't really even in the discussion for best COD. If you go watch anybody's tier list on YouTube, they're not going to put BO1 at the top next to MW2 and BO2. Like, the two games that people want are MW2 and BO2. And so when it comes to remastering, I don't know if they're going to choose to do a BO1 remastered. And that's what I was saying in the last game, was I don't know what like route they want to take. If they go BO2, they at least know they're going to sell a shit ton of copies, whereas if they go BO1, they don't know for sure. The last game that they did in the Cold War era was Cold War, and that game didn't sell very well. And that was kind of the point I was making with World at War as well. They've made 2 World at War games since World at War, and both have not sold good at all. So I don't see them going down and like remastering World at War, and I don't know if I could see them doing BO1 either. So even though I strongly believe BO1 deserves a remaster, I don't know if they'll do it. I just don't think they'll do it because are looking for profits. And that's kind of where I come into the point where, like I was saying in the last video, I really want to see them do like a Halo like Master Chief collection, but with Call of Duties. Because if they just do like a master collection of all the Call of Duties, there's like no reason why anybody wouldn't buy it. No matter what, they're gonna have their game that they want to play in that master collection. But it also opens up a lot of issues because the more games that they stuff into one game, the more servers they have to run for like each specific game that's inside that one game. Let's say they have 5 Call of Duties in that game. They'd have to have 5 different servers for each one of the games built into that game, not including the servers that are already running the original game. Because keep in mind, when they did that with Halo, a lot of the Halo servers were already like dead, they were already gone. But with Call of Duty, all of the Call of Duty servers are still up. Like, there's not players active on it. They're still up and still like you're able to still hop on and play if you can find people. Which, to be fair, they're also not dedicated servers on the old CODs either, so that's possibly the reason why as well. If they do a remaster, they're gonna have to do dedicated servers for each game that's inside of that remaster, and then it just kind of it adds up on the cost, and then it also splits the player base across 5 different games because everybody's gonna be playing whatever their favorite game was. I don't know. It's difficult. And my point in the last video wasn't really to be like, oh, this game deserves, like, BO2 deserves to be remastered before all the other games. That wasn't really the point of my video. The point of my video is more to talk about the fact that they might actually remaster something. And as someone pointed out in the last video, there's a really good chance that we won't get a remaster at all. Bro. Cold War Zombies has me fucking thinking I could take like 7 hits before I die. Like I was saying though, somebody in the last video pointed out like Activision doesn't really care about like our opinions. They're not gonna do something just because we want them to. And I 100% agree with what he was saying. I don't think Activision is gonna go out of their way to make a remaster just because we want one. But the whole point of my video is just pointing out that like this would make the most sense for Activision to do a remaster during 2023 instead of a release of a new Call of Duty. They're in a very similar situation as to what they were when they released MWR, where people weren't buying games, and I think the reason why they're not going to do another game for that year is because they would rather just do a remaster instead of releasing a remaster with another game just to try and sell that game, because that obviously didn't work with the last one. So that's the point I was trying to make in the last video, and I do strongly agree. I think BO1 was one of the best Call of Duties, if not the best Call of Duty. It's very debatable because there's 3 really, really good ones. There's arguably 4 really, really good ones, honestly.